The stock market has gone absolutely insane over the last 24 hours and really over the last couple of weeks. I talked to you guys back in March about how you should be scaling yourself in because nobody can predict the actual bottom of the stock market. But I think there's arguments that can be made that we've already seen the bottom, and I don't think that we'll go back to those previous lows. If you happen to miss the boat, I got something for you. And then we're also going to go into why the stock market has moved the way that it's moved, and can it continue to make these highs? All that and more coming up. That's right, guys. The S&P 500 skyrocketed nearly 100 points overnight on reports that the U.S. economy may finally start opening for business, and biotech company Gilead, or ticker symbol GILD, has had some serious breakthroughs on the treatment of the Rona. So how is this going to impact your investing, and have you missed the boat on buying in on some lows? Well, I'm going to give you that and more, but first let me go ahead and welcome you to my channel. Hi, my name is Brad, and this is Own the Chaos. The stock market is a crazy and chaotic place, and I've made it my mission to help you own it. So if you want to see more content such as this, I would encourage you to subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell, and if you get value out of today's video, I certainly would appreciate that good old thumbs up. All right, so let's get into it because we got a lot of stuff to cover here. Yesterday after market close, Gilead Sciences reported their antiviral treatment Remdesivir was driving rapid recoveries in fever and respiratory symptoms for individuals who have the Rona, which is fantastic news. The stock market rose 14% overnight and is holding gains as of this recording. Also after hours, the Trump administration briefed governors on Thursday about the three-phase blueprint for economic reopening, leaving it to the states to move through each phase at their own paces and ensure testing, surveillance, and contingency plans remain in place in case a second Rona wave occurs. Then, Boeing announced after hours that it will begin ramping its commercial aircraft production in Seattle starting next week. After temporarily shutting down production last month, shares went up as high as 10% in pre-market trading and is up over 13% as of this recording. So have you missed the boat? Has all this good news made it impossible for the stock market to crash down and get back to those lows that we saw back at the end of March? Well, here's some things to consider. Over the last month, I've been telling you guys that you can't predict the bottom, and that if you're looking to get in at some serious lows, that there are a lot of stocks out there that had prices that were legitimately jokes. It was laughable at the price of some of the stocks and how far they had come down. And we went over a lot of them. And in my opinion, I think that we have seen the low as far as the market's concerned, but there is some hope for those of you who maybe missed out on that opportunity. There are still opportunities, and there's still some cheap stocks out there. And I'm going to give you some other things to consider as far as the bear side and the bull side's concerned. So like I said, no, I don't believe that we'll see those markets at those lows again. We've already surpassed that crucial 50% retracement. And considering the bailouts, the payroll protection plan, the stimulus packages, and all the other good news that we've been seeing up to this point, I really think it's hard to imagine that we see the stock market reach back down to those lows. Which brings me to the other side. Will the stock market continue to make its ramp up? Are we going to continue to see just green day after green day? And in my opinion, I think in a way that yes, we will, but it's not going to be without its pullbacks. We are not out of the woods yet, in my opinion. There are some things that you should consider when these phases start to get rolled out. There could be setbacks and so on and so forth. Also, this good news from Gilead is good news, but we're not out of the woods yet as far as that's concerned either. Some Gilead analysts caution investors to curb their enthusiasm over the drug, as it still needs to be tested on a much broader scale. Right now, we're only talking about a select few that received treatment, 53 of them to be exact, and that full clinical trial isn't expected until the end of the month. Gilead even quoted saying that we cannot draw definitive conclusions from this data, but the observations from this group of hospitalized patients who received remdesivir are hopeful. And so what Gilead's trying to say here is that while, yes, the results have been positive and there is some hope here, at this stage, reports are uncontrolled and anecdotal data and can oftentimes wind up not being confirmed in their controlled studies. So there's still a lot up in the air here, and we don't want to overhype anything. So you want to give yourself some perspective, especially when going in investing in the stock market. There's going to be this super crazy high. People are going to be emotional about things, and then there's going to be people like you and me who are going to sit back and look at the big picture here and say, hey, let's everybody back their bus up and look at it for what it is. Yes, it's good, but we're not out of the woods just yet. One final consideration as far as the direction of the market's concerned is if we enter in some sort of second wave of infections. It's entirely possible that once people are allowed out of their homes, that they won't take this as seriously as they should, and we could have a second wave of infections because people might just assume, and it's not crazy to think about, that once they're allowed out, that means that everything's okay, and it's just not. So there's definitely that risk that we open ourselves up to as we start to let people outside their homes and get on with their regular daily lives. So after going over why the stock market has moved the way that it has over the last 24 hours and where it may be headed from here, I wanted to also talk about some opportunities as far as stocks are concerned. What are some good investments moving into this new phase of the stock market and now that we are continuing to move up here? I think there's some really good opportunities out there, and so I'm going to give you 3 stocks that I think are definitely good ones to consider at least watching and potentially investing into if the price is right. Speaking of opportunities, I wanted to give you an opportunity to hang out with me for free for 1 month. If you go over to WeTrade HQ or click the link down in the description below, enter the word stocks to receive 1 free month of mentorship. And what you'll get out of that free month is a daily mentorship from me where I go live with folks from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern time. And then I'm with you all day in a private chat as well. And you get the opportunity to ask me questions. You get to see me trade. You get to see me talk about potential investment opportunities. And also, it's just a great community to be a part of. It's not just here, copy my trades, anything like that. It's just a community where people are sharing ideas and thoughts, and people are absolutely crushing it every single day in the daily mentorship. So if you want to be a part of that, again, links are down in the description below. Make sure you enter stocks at checkout and you'll get your free month. Okay, so the 3 stocks that I'm looking at are going to be in 3 different sectors. I think that they're still very much on the cheap and worth long-term investments. So I'm talking about what are they going to look like a year from now. So the first one is going to be Zoom, or ticker symbol ZM. I really like Zoom. We all know what Zoom is at this point. It is all over the place, right? It's been featured on Saturday Night Live. People use it for work. People use it to connect with their families. It's just been an amazing platform as people have been locked up in their homes. But what I think is going to happen with Zoom, I don't know why this is happening, and I can kind of see this, but as the stock market continues to go up and there's promise that people can go back to work and can continue to do things that don't involve Zoom, I think what this actually has done for Zoom is put them on the map. And I don't think people are going to go away from using Zoom as much as investors think they will. In my opinion, I think that because Zoom has been utilized and used so much while we've been on this lockdown, I think that moving forward, as people are allowed out of their homes, I think people are going to realize that they can do so much work at home and still be extremely efficient, as well as getting all the mainstream exposure that Zoom has gotten. In my opinion, I think that it's solidified itself as a household name. Literally. And so for just that reason alone, I think that Zoom still sees $200 before the end of the year. Now I know that there's been some controversy surrounding around Zoom, but it's not controversy that can't be overcome. We've seen Facebook overcome a controversy similar to this, and what Facebook was going through was way larger on a way bigger scale than what Zoom is. And so I think that Zoom is still very much a solid investment. And even as this is coming down, I think it's an opportunity for people to look at this on the cheap, as I think that Zoom's definitely going to be poised to come out of this recession that we're in even stronger because of how people have been able to discover just how useful this platform is. The next one's going to be Boeing. Now, while I haven't been Boeing's biggest fan over the last 6 to 12 months, I will say that Boeing is a little bit too cheap at this point in time, and it's amazing to see them going back into production. Before the crash, Boeing had its worst year in 2 decades and was still trading over $300 per share. As of this recording, it's still trading at half that price, so I think that anything under $150 a share is a sure bargain, and if it were me, I certainly would be scooping some up, anything under that price. The last one's going to be Disney. Anything under $110, in my opinion, is a steal for Disney, as they have just reported over 50 million Disney Plus users and are still not globally accessible, which means that they could still have even more people sign up for their platform. Not only that, but the parks, their biggest revenue driver, are still closed. And given the fact that this is trading right around $100 a share, I still think it's very much a bargain at this point. If you really see this start to go down below $100, in my opinion, I think that is absolutely a buy. So in my opinion, I think that it would be a very smart idea to own some before the fairy godmother says bippity boppity boo. No, we don't like that one. What about before Ursula gets married to Eric? I don't like that one either. Okay. what about before Nemo touches the butt? All right, well, I tried, but you get what I'm trying to say. I would definitely be scooping up some Disney down here on the cheap, just because, you know, we still haven't seen the parks open. And as we're starting to see some positive movement here, I think that Disney is very much a buy, especially if we see this dip below $100, you know, in the near future. So that's going to do it for me, guys. Finally, I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on my view on the stock market? Do you think that we are going to experience new lows? Do you think that the stocks that I have picked out for longer term investments are good ones? Or do you have ones that you're looking at? I would love to hear from you. I always reply to all the comments, so I would love to hear from you and engage with you and get your thoughts about today's video. Lastly, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. And if you want to see more videos as they come out, make sure that you're hitting that notification. And if you got value out of today's video, again, I certainly would appreciate that thumbs up. And as always, folks, I will see you all before the bell. And B Smith is out. And so a lot of you guys responded to last week's video when I said now might be a start to be a time where you may want to consider starting to scale yourself in, or if you're already in any